going to discuss about arrays and vectors in Java. First, we will discuss about arrays. An array is a group of similar data type elements that share a common name. That is, all the elements in the array will have the same name and same data type. The array are stored sequentially, that is, they occupy contiguous memory locations. And these array elements are fixed and cannot be changed dynamically. That is, we cannot change the array values. These three are the basic things regarding the array. And next, moving on to the types of arrays. There are mainly two types of arrays. The first one is one-dimensional array and the second one is multi-dimensional array. Firstly, about one-dimensional array, it is an array which has only one variable name and one subscript. It is generally referred as one-dimensional array. In creating either one-dimensional array or multi-dimensional array, we have to follow three steps. The first step is declaring an array, the second step is creation of memory, and the third step is insertion of array values. First, we will see how to declare an array. The syntax for declaring an array will be like this. It is having two syntaxes. The first syntax is type array name of, and the second syntax is type of array name. By using any of these two syntaxes, we can declare an array. Next, the second one is creation of memory. That is, we have to allocate space for the array. That thing is called as creation of memory. And in order to create memory for the array, the syntax is array name is equal to new type of size. By using this syntax, we can allocate space for the array. Here, size specifies the number of elements that can be stored in the array. And next, moving on to the insertion of values. Finally, we have to insert the values into the array. That is possible by using this method or this step. And in order to insert the values into the array, there are two syntaxes. The first one is array name of subscript is equal to 1. And the second syntax is type array name is equal to list of values in curly braces. Mainly by using this second syntax, we can insert all the values into the array at a time. Here in this example or related to the one-dimensional array, they have created an array called num. And finally, this num has allocated the size 5. That is, in this array num, 5 elements can be stored. And in the last step, that is in insertion of array values, we have inserted the values into the array num. Next, moving on to the multi-dimensional array. A multi-dimensional array is nothing but an array of arrays. It is a one array name and different subscripts. That is referred as multi-dimensional array. And the syntax for this will be like this. You have to put two sets of square brackets is equal to new type of size 1, size 2 and put a semicolon at the end. And here for creating the multi-dimensional array, the three steps have to be followed as we have followed in the above. The first one is declaring an array and the second one is creation of memory and the third one is insertion of array value. Now we will see the examples related to one-dimensional array and two-dimensional array. First we will see the example for one-dimensional array. In this example, the name of the class is one dimension and this is the main class, and within this main class main method has been written, and here a one-dimensional array has been created and the name of the array is A. Take the values. And next, by using the for loop, we are printing all the values that are present in this one-dimensional array. It is a simple example related to one-dimensional array. Next, moving on to the example for multi-dimensional array. In this example, initially we are declaring a multi-dimensional array. Name of the array is sales. Sales is a two-dimensional array and we have stored some 12 elements within this array. And by using two for loops, we are printing the elements that are present in this array. The first for loop is regarding the first index and the second for loop is regarding the second index. So by using two indexes or by using two subscripts, we have to refer this array, and by using these two indexes, we are printing the appropriate values. Finally, all the values have been printed. Vectors. First of all, what is a vector? A vector is nothing but a generic dynamic array that can store objects of any type within this vector, and those objects can be varying. That is, we can insert or we can delete or we can add objects into this vector. So it is present in the package java.util. So we have to import this particular package in order to use the vectors. And the syntax for creating the vector will be like this. Vector is the name of the predefined class. So vector space v is equal to new vector of. In this syntax we have not mentioned the size, and in the next syntax or in the next example we have given the size as 3, which is vector v is equal to new vector of 3. In this way we have to create a vector. And finally, within this vector, we can store elements of any type, and those elements can be changing. The size need not be the same. That is the main advantage of vector. Present in the vector is add element. By using this add element method, we can add elements into the vector. And the second one is capacity. This particular method returns the capacity of the vector. And the third one is contains. By using this method, we can check whether the element is present in the vector or not. And fourth one is copy into. By using this copy into, we can copy the elements of the vector into the array. And the next one is elemented. If we give the index, it retrieves a particular element from the vector. And the next one is first element. As the name specifies, we can retrieve the first element from the particular index. We can insert an element. That is called as insert element at. And the next one is empty. Is the vector is empty or not? The next one is last element. Last element generally retrieves the last element of the vector. The next method is remove all elements. If we want to remove all the elements of the vector, then we have to use this particular method. The next one is remove elemented. If we specify the index for this, that is, this method will be taking the parameter as index, and for that particular index, that particular element will be removed. So remove element yet of index. And the last one is set element at. At a particular index, we can set an element. An example for vectors, and initially since we are using the vectors, we have to import the package. And the package that we are importing is a java.util package. So we have to write import java.util.star. Star means all the classes will be imported from the util package. Next, the name of the class is vectlist, and it is the main class, and within this main method has been written. And initially, observe the first statement. In the first statement, we are creating a vector called list. So the name of the vector is list. Next, we are finding the length. The number of arguments that we are giving at runtime will be stored. For example, if 5 arguments are given at runtime, 5 will be stored in the variable length. Next, the for loop has been used here in order to insert all the 5 elements into the vector. So for int I is equal to 0, I less than length I plus plus, list dot add element of args of 5. So I am inserting all the 5 elements into the vector list. Now I am inserting a new element called cobalt at the index 2. So the size will be generally increased since I have inserted a new element called cobalt at the second index. So I am calculating the size here. So the size has been calculated here. So the statement has been written like this. Int size is equal to list dot size of. The vector's size, that is the number of elements present in the vector, will be retrieved into the variable size. So size generally increases here. Next, we are called list array, and its data type is string, and the size has been mentioned here. The appropriate size will be present for that particular array. List dot copy into of list array. That is, all the elements in the vector will be copied into the array list array. Finally, I am printing those elements that are present in the array have been printed here. For that purpose, we are writing the statements like this. System.out.println list of languages. That statement will be printed as it is. Next, for loop has been used here in order to print all the elements that are present in the array, list array. So all the elements that are present in list array will be printed. We can run the program as it is in order to get the output. Here the main thing that we have to remember for this program is we have to supply the arguments during runtime. This is the program related to vectors, and here we are importing the package util package because the vector class is present in this package, and here the name of the class is vect list. Initially the vector that have been created here is list, so the name of the vector is list. Now we have to supply the arguments during runtime. So args.length, that is the number of arguments that are supplied at runtime, will be stored in the variable L. Next, all these arguments have to be dumped into the vector. So I am using the for loop and I am using the add element method in order to insert all the arguments that are given at runtime into the vector. And finally, a new element has been inserted into the vector at position 2, and that element is COBOL. And after inserting the new element into the vector list, the size has been calculated, and that size value is stored in the variable size. After that statement, a new array has been created called LA, and its type is string, and that array has been created with the size here. Array called LA has been created here of type string with this particular size. And list.copy into of LA means all the elements that are present in the vector will be stored into the array LA. And finally, in order to print all the elements that are present in the array LA, we are using these below statements. Initially, I am writing a print statement as system.out.println list of languages. This particular sentence will be printed as it is because it is enclosed in double quotations. Next, in order to retrieve all the elements of the array LA, I am writing the for loop like this. For int I is equal to 0, I less than size I plus plus system.out.println LA of I. So, initially, we are dumping some arguments into the vector, and later we have inserted a new element into the vector, and finally all the elements of the vector are copied into the array, and all the elements present in the array are displayed here. Now we will save and run this program. File save as. We can give some name vec.java. After saving, first we have to compile the program javac space vec.java. Now we can run the program java space, and the name of the main class here is vect list, that I have to give here vect list. Here remember, we have to give the arguments during runtime, that is we have to give the arguments now itself here. So I am giving some strings. We can give any type of arguments. Here I am giving only some strings. C, next C++. The third argument is Pascal, and the fourth argument is Fortran. All these are initially saved into the vector, and COBOL is saved at second position, that is after C++ it will be saved, and all those are finally copied into the array, and the array elements are printed like this: list of languages C, C++, COBOL, Pascal and Fortran. This is the output for the above program.